Everyone, welcome to the Campus Answer Hour for insurers, self-insurers, third-party administrators, and trading partners. My name is Denise Holmes, and I am a Compliance Services Officer, or CSO, in the Compliance Records and Training, or CRT Department, here at the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. And we also have with us co-hosting today my CRT teammate, Senior CSO, Deborah Dolsky. You will note that we also have a broad range of panelists joining us today to help answer your questions and share their campus knowledge, including CRT Director Chris Leifeld, CRT Work Comp Program Supervisor Ralph Hapness, CRT Supervisor Mike Solheid, Management Analyst John Brothen, Andrew Kobrick from the Minnesota Information Technology Unit, and campus subject matter experts Lisa Smith and Cheryl Scherbel. In addition, we have with us today Special Compensation Fund Director Karen Kask-Meinke and SCF Supervisor Tom Hansen as well to field any questions involving the Special Comp Fund. Just a reminder that this meeting today is being recorded so that it can be posted for your access to refer back to if you need at a later time. Please also note that for audio purposes, all attendees should be on mute. So if you have a question that arises during this meeting, please just type it into the chat box. CSO and Gillis will be coordinating that chat box for questions to ensure that your inquiries are addressed. And we'll also be sharing some helpful campus links in the WebEx chat box, such as contact information for the help desk and for the EDI team. So you may want to take a peek there and cut and paste any links that you might need for your future reference. Sounds like someone's not on mute. Can everybody please mute? Thank you. So you can see the agenda for today starts off with a summary of the most recent campus release.
Every time you use them.
I apologize. I think I'm getting some background noise. Can we all check that we're on mute?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So you can see the agenda for today starts off with a summary of the most recent campus release updates, and then I will confirm the main current campus known issues so that you're aware of what we continue to work on. Deb Dolsky will then address the content and format of future campus hour sessions, and she will provide the Campus Central webpage link, which is where you can sign up for future answer hours once they're scheduled, find all the prior recorded training and event video links, and other helpful campus resource materials. Then our panelists from the Special Compensation Fund would like to answer any pending SCF questions from our last answer hour. And finally, we will conclude by opening this forum to any remaining questions that you may have. So regarding the most recent campus releases, there was an issue where the Office of Administrative Hearings, OAH, dispute receive date was not populating since November 6, 2020. That is now resolved. Another issue was that the transaction status, assignee, and owner data fields on a Workers' Compensation Court of Appeals WCCA case details page was not displaying those status, assignee, and owner fields that were already set up in the workflow page. That bug has also been fixed. In addition, there was an issue where some external users were receiving a "You are not authorized to access this page" message when attempting to view a submission. That issue has been corrected. In addition, some group administrators for an insurer or a self-insurer were receiving a "not authorized" error message when attempting to submit an annual insurer's report for assessment reporting. This issue has been resolved, and the message being received by group administrators now should be success when submitting an annual insurer's report. So some of the current main known issues with campus include a short time duration is currently allowed to be inactive prior to being timed out of the system. The feedback we've received on that indicates that you're requesting that the idle time be extended. So that's being looked into. Also, some users have reported getting an error message when attempting to access and view electronic data interchange or EDI reports and filings. So we just want to confirm that we are aware of these issues and they're being worked on to be resolved as quickly as possible. We thank you for your calls into the campus help desk to report these issues and offer your feedback. Please do continue to share with us any other issues that you're experiencing in the campus system so that we're notified that a particular issue exists so that we can address it. So moving along to our next agenda topic, Deb, did you want to take the floor?
Thanks, Denise. You want to go to the next slide, please?
Sure.
Okay, future content for campus hours. Based upon your ideas and feedback from our last answer hour session, we are planning to go through examples of PY filings at our next answer hour discussion. The preferred format was determined to be actual scenario with examples and/or live demonstrations when possible. So we will plan to do that in the future campus hour sessions. Also, if you have any other ideas on topics for future training sessions or answer hours, please include them in the chat box today as well, like we did the last time. And we will take those into consideration. Denise, next slide, please.
Okay.
Campus Central webpage. The last time we got together, we actually visited this site, but we're not going to be doing that today. I also wanted to remind you that there is a link available on every Dolly webpage on the upper left-hand side on the red bar that will take you to the Campus Central webpage. On this site, all critical campus information will be posted on this page, which includes the known issues and the fixes. As mentioned in the last session, this may be a site that you'd like to read before you log into campus each day to see if there's any news for the day. Also, you can log directly into campus at Central Campus or Campus Central webpage. This also will give you the release notes and as soon as they are available. Currently, it's every other week. Also, this page, Campus Central, will give you the link to the Work Comp Campus FAQs and also the Work Comp Quick Reference Guides. In addition, you will also be able to register for any additional or registration for updates via email. So Denise, I think we can now go and address any questions that may be posed in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Deb. Next, we will turn it over to Karen Kask-Meinke and Thomas Hansen from the Special Compensation Fund. They'd like to take some time now to circle back and answer any pending Special Comp Fund related questions from our prior answer hour. Karen and Tom?
Hi, thank you for inviting us to this answer hour. So I do have a transcript of the questions from the last answer hour, which I believe was on the 10th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the first question I see as applying to the fund, and I'm not sure if it does actually, was, is there a requirement to upload a state business page to the submit insured report? I cannot find a place to upload it. I'm not certain if that applies to the fund. Is there someone who can clarify that? I'm not quite sure what that means. Unless Tom, you know.
No, I don't recognize the term. They may be trying to describe something else, but I don't recognize what that would be.
Yeah, so if somebody that's on today was on at the last answer hour and had that question, if you could clarify that in the chat, we could try to answer that today. The next question is any update on reimbursements? And I assume you are referring to annual claims for reimbursement of second injury and supplementary benefits. We met this morning to discuss how we can begin processing annual claims for reimbursement manually outside of campus at this time because all of the functionality is not set up in campus yet. So we are very close to coming to a process on that, and we will send out a Gov delivery message and also put something in a newsletter to insurers, self-insurers, and TPAs, hopefully by the end of this week yet, or it could be at the beginning of next week. We have a number of reimbursements that we have not processed going back to the launch of campus at the beginning of November. So we have quite a few that we need to get caught up on. I know that some of you have submitted annual claims in campus, and we would look at those. Obviously, there are some issues with how they were received once they went through campus. So we would need to look at those, but we do have a number that are ready for payment. The next question, how do I access the report of benefits paid that needs to be submitted by April 1st? And I assume this is the report of workers' comp benefits paid for purposes of the Special Compensation Fund assessments. If you are, Tom, maybe you could take this and explain it a little better than I. Tom has had more experience with testing this and working with stakeholders on this. Would you mind, Tom?
Sure. I mean, I think the critical thing is that each insurer or self-insurer will need to have, well, ideally both a group administrator as well as a designated contact for assessments. That group administrator then is able to add parties within the organization as well as parties outside the organization, such as a third-party administrator. But that function has to come from the insurer or self-insurer. Once those designations are placed on the entity details page, the insurer or the self-insurer permissions, then on the details page, there will be a tab available, and it's just simply you click the tab, it says insurer assessments or assessment, yeah, insurer report, I believe. And that will bring up the page where you list the indemnity benefits that were paid in the preceding year. It's a fairly easy form to fill out, but getting the right people aligned with the insurer through the group management is a critical portion of this. I guess we'd be happy to take any additional questions if there are any, but I mean, that is the process that needs to take place.
Thanks, Tom. So I'm scrolling through the list from the last answer hour, and I see a couple more references to the insured report, which is the assessment report. So one thing that I don't think was made perfectly clear months ago when there was training, or perhaps it didn't reach enough people, was that the insurer needs to set up a group administrator. The insurer or self-insurer needs to set up a group administrator. The group administrator then needs to set up a designated contact for assessments. Before we launched campus, notifications were sent out to our insurer and self-insurer email list, and it provided I believe a verification code or something where the insurer could set up that group administrator themselves. After campus went live, the process changed so that now if you still need to set up a group administrator, you need to contact the help desk. I don't know if that information is in the chat right now. I know it's been provided many times, and it is on the DLI website. Oh yeah, there are the help desk contacts towards the top of the chat. So once you've decided who your group administrator should be, you need to give the help desk a call or send them an email. Let them know who that individual should be. They must be from the insurer or the self-insurer. If you assign, well, I don't, Tom, maybe you can help me out here again. If the employer assigns a group administrator, I actually don't think that they're able to do that. But am I right on that, Tom, or not? Or someone from compliance? Do you know if the self-insured employer, as the employer entity, can be the group administrator?
They can. They would have to be on the group administrator for the self-insured entity, not necessarily the employer entity.
Okay,
They
right.
can be both.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then they need to designate someone to be the designated contact for assessments. The person who reports the assessments, the indemnity benefits paid, can be from the TPA, but that assignment needs to come from the group administrator. It's not something that the TPA is able to do. So that would have to, you would have to contact the group administrator for the insurer or the self-insurer and have them designate you as the designated contact for assessments. And I think that's where we've been running into a few problems. And I think those were the only questions from the last answer hour.
Okay, great. Thanks, Karen and Tom, for sharing that information.
Thank
So
you.
now we will open the forum to any remaining audience questions on campus system to the whole panel. Please put your inquiries in the chat box and Anne will monitor to ensure that we address your inquiries. Panelists, just a friendly reminder, please make sure you're unmuted now so that your responses can be heard.
Okay, this is Anne. The first question is from Tammy White, and she's asking, would it be possible to have the group ID included on the RFI?
Hi, this is Ralph Pappas. I'm just checking if we can do that, if there's a data field for that form. We're kind of limited as to what data elements come with various transactions. So that's something we could take a look at and see if we can include it.
Okay, thanks, Ralph. Okay, then Wendy Helland, her question is for NLBP filings. Can you go through uploading it to campus? I know the first step we would choose other filing, but I do not believe there's an accurate filing name that would match.
This is Lisa Smith. I think I can maybe answer this. For NLBP filings, first you would do the PY transaction, and that would generate a document. If you are trying to upload maybe a NLBP that was filed previously, you can choose other filing and you can upload the document that way. I don't believe that there is an NLBP actually listed for that type of filing.
Okay. Next question is from Paula Ross. Is it possible in a future answer hour to go through updating files that existed prior to campus going live versus new filings that need to be done?
Thanks for sharing that feedback. We'll definitely take that back
To
and
make sure I was on mute, sorry.
we'll definitely take that back and take it into
That's
consideration.
okay.
Appreciate that, Paula.
It is.
Okay, it sounds like somebody is unmuted. We're getting background noise. If everybody could please check if you're not speaking that you mute yourself. We appreciate it. Thank you.
And then next,
Oh,
Amy,
yeah, Stanley didn't get another bed till he was after he was 2.
Amy Irving's question is, any further word on when a specific TPA session will be held?
Hello, this is Chris Leifeld, Director of the Compliance Records and Training Unit. There is not one scheduled currently. We're looking at scheduling one a few weeks in the future.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Okay, then from Stephen Bruner, why can we not upload other filings on a claim in Campus that shows closed? We have NLBPs that need to be uploaded, but we don't have the other filings option. And then also he has an additional question. Some of our users can't access certain claims even though they're a party to the claim. The common thread seems to be that the claims in Campus are in closed status, but why would this prevent a user assigned to the claim from seeing it?
Thank you for posing the question there. We are aware that there is a bug with that there's an issue with submitting or uploading forms on a claim that's in the Campus system in a closed status. So if you're finding that to be the issue, you'll want to send an email to the helpdesk.dli@state.mn.us, and it's towards the top on the chat there. Ann pasted it in for you in the chat box. But and you'll want to title the subject of that email reopen request, and then list in there which claims you want reopened, and they're making those a priority. Go ahead and get those open so that you can upload forms. So we appreciate your patience with that. Thanks for the workaround.
Hi, this is Ralph again. That should be fixed in the next release from Campus. We tested it today, and it seems that you're able to file forms on closed files, closed claims on it that we closed on our end. So that should be fixed with the next release, hopefully coming out by the end of the week. So
Good
stay
news.
tuned. If it doesn't work, please let us know. But when we tested it today, it seemed to work just fine. So,
That's good news, Ralph. Thanks for that development.
yeah.
This is Mike Solheid. I just want to add in also, and for ones that are closed, if you look at your My Claims tab, there's going to be a checkbox that says include inactive towards the top right-hand corner of that. You can click that and the ones that are closed will also appear under there then.
Okay. And the next question is just checking the status of the previously issued PIN numbers that start with leading zeros. There was a known issue with the previous submissions not being accepted for employees issued PINs not located in Campus.
I haven't heard that that's still an issue. Does anybody from IT know?
I
Do
can
we have
chime in.
anybody on?
This is John. I can chime in. They should be working, Sandy. I think it would be a rare exception that a PIN number was not working at this time. It's just always have to remember to make sure that the PIN is actually in the jurisdiction assigned ID field versus the SSN field. If it rejects because it's a leading zero, it's probably in the SSN field. But you can always reach out to us and let us know if you have an exact example, and we can take a look. Thanks.
Next question from Mike Pincher. On very old claims, perm totals, we're emailing DLI to make the JCN active. However, we're still getting MTC errors when submitting a FOIA. How do we resolve this?
This is John again, Mike. There's a lot of issues that could happen, but I'm guessing the number one is you may not have the WID number in the transaction for the FOIA. We do have a WID lookup now, so if you want to go in and try to look up the WIDs for those old claims, you can do that. If not, you can also reach out to us and we'll try and research those for you.
Lastly, where does the notice of benefit payment pull its payment information from? The NLBPs that are creating are pulling payment info that we aren't sure where it's coming from. It will pull random TTD payment. It won't pull the RORF fees we paid. It's just very inconsistent.
I could chime in. The payment form is pulling in from the PY transaction the payment segments. So whatever the transaction had in the payment segments are being placed there. RORF fees would not be or should not be in a payment segment. That's now lumped under the other benefit type code 340, claimants other attorney's fees. So that roughly explains that.
Okay, so then the next two questions I think are the same. And then Tammy is saying, so it's important to communicate to our insurers, self-insurers, that they need to register for campus. Do they email to Dolly to make this request?
Well, this is Karen. I think that's related to what I said earlier about submitting the report of work comp benefits paid for assessment purposes. Yes, it is very important to make sure that insurers and self-insurers register for campus. Currently, there are very few self-insurers actually set up in campus with a group administrator, which will make it tough to go forward in campus. Obviously, we are currently accepting the paper form, the PDF form that we used to accept for assessment reporting. We are only accepting that this year, and that is available on the website under forms. It's the report of workers' compensation benefits paid. However, it is to the self-insurer's best interest to register in campus and report your assessments in campus, because it just starts your assessment history, from year one, which makes it easier every year after. But yes, you would email the help desk for that information on how to do that.
And Kathy Mickelson has a question about future training. For future trainings, maybe we could go through an actual CA and SA. The CA is a new form, and as I understand it, must be filled out for all changes to payment, such as COLA, Social Security COLA, etc.
Yeah,
Thanks
I can
for
chime
that.
in.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, thanks, Denise. I can chime in quick, Kathy. So tomorrow at 11:30 Central is the EDI answer hour. And I'll just pitch that I promised at the last EDI answer hour, I'd try and do a scenario that shows the benefit versus payment segments on a PY. And then I guess I'll also try to add a CA and an SA scenario as well to show you how those transactions look, at least for the benefit and or payment segment or ACR segments. So if anyone wants to get into the nitty gritty details of EDI, tomorrow at 11:30 Central, we'll have the EDI answer hour.
Next, has the notice of benefit reinstatement form been discontinued? This was on the form to MTC code form to have automated forms sent back to us based on the EDI submitted, but we have never received this. Are they still required to fill? Are we still required to fill out manually and just download to campus?
I think this was brought up long ago. So the checkbox that is for the RB transaction it's in the column that does not technically generate a form or like the old NLBR form. Our previous guidance has been that if you can still tell substantively the information that to the employee that their benefits are being reinstated, like i.e. you've given them a check and told them that their benefits are being reinstated, that suffices for communicating to them the fact that their benefits have been reinstated. So there's no longer an NLBR form, and there's no need to generate any kind of form from campus, etc.
Next question, is there an update on adding more document type options for uploading documents so that they can be clearly named?
Can I just interject here? This is Denise. I just want to recognize that I do see that we are at 2:30. I know a lot of you had this scheduled from 2 to 2:30. However, we're getting such good questions and feedback that we've set aside time and we're able to stay on the phone here and continue this. So if you're able to stay on the line with us past the 2:30 meeting time, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, to refresh, I think we have an outstanding question here then on whether or not we can have more labels for the document types when they're uploaded.
Does anybody know that we have on the line here? Is anybody involved in that? Do we have that set up possibly for future enhancements or? Okay, if we don't have anybody on the line that's able to answer that, we'll take that back to the appropriate group and get an answer and circle back with you. Thank you.
Next question, is there any way to have the forms that are submitted via EDI and returned to employees include what information is being uploaded to the form from our EDI submissions? For example, we use Mitchell and I've tried submitting a suspension, NOID 2, expecting the information to show up properly on the form that is returned. Unfortunately, the form that was returned did not have the information populate that I thought it should have, and I have no idea what information is being used to populate those returned forms. It's very confusing that we have all this information required to fill out forms, but yet the vast majority of the information is not being shown on the populated forms.
Yeah, I can chime in, Ann. The forms generated from EDI transactions we have many items logged on those forms, and we know that they have a lot of issues. The NOID number 2 is really only generated from the CB transaction, and that's the one that has the most problems with it. So we're quite aware, and what the department's been telling everyone is that if the forms generated from the transactions are unclear and you need to make changes to them, or perhaps use one of the old forms, you can do so and then upload those either changed or old forms to campus once you've sent them out again.
Okay, and then this might be part of the previous question somewhat. Mike is asking, we've also had issues with getting a NOID number 2 to draft. I was advised to file an SX, then RB, but we just got a NOID box 1, then no NOID box 2. How do we communicate TPD?
Yeah, so kind of a complicated question. You can, if you're switching from say temp total to temp partial, you can do an SX and then do an RB if you wish. Most commonly that's going to be a CB, since there's typically not a break in the technical benefits. And the CB is the one that creates the NOID box 2. An SX, when there's an actual return to work, creates the NOID number 1 type form. If there's no return to work, or there's only a released return to work, or it's any of the other than S1 NOIDs, then it does not create a NOID form. And then campus presumes that the discontinuance web form, or what used to be the NOID number 3, will be filled out. So that's kind of confusing, but hopefully that sheds a little bit of light on what forms are supposed to get created from what transaction.
Next question from Lee is, what is the ETA for a response from the help desk? And as an example, sent an inquiry last week and it was forwarded to Special Comp Fund even though it wasn't an SCF issue, and still waiting to hear back.
Hi, this is Karen again. I just wanted to jump in quickly and say, first of all, I apologize that you haven't received a response yet. My team did send it back to the help desk actually on Monday, but I apologize that we did not let you know that. I believe your question was about receiving the RFI and why it was not received by all of your designated contacts for information requests from DLI. I think only one of you at Berkeley received that email. So I don't know if anyone from the help desk can answer that right now, but we'll make sure that we get that question answered, Lee, and I apologize again.
Okay. The next question is, when adding a party to a claim for service of a discontinuance, there's not a role type for the employee's attorney. Can these be added? Options that are available do not make sense for an attorney. We have had a number of claims where the employee is represented, but they're not listed on the claim in campus.
Bridget, thank you for that question. It sounds like we don't have anybody on the panel at this time that can directly answer that. So what we'll do is take that back and circle back with you with an update. Thank you.
Okay, the next question from Tammy. I'm only seeing a partial question. I'm sorry, Tammy. It says I have 31 TPA groups that I manage, comma, and I'm not able to see the rest of the question.
It looks like the question was cut off in the chat box. I don't see anything else either, Anne.
Okay.
You're seeing the same thing as me.
Okay, and then Wendy is saying yes, paper notice of benefit payment, and then saying, so what do we choose for uploading the paper doc? I think that's a continuation from a prior question. Maybe just about that form. I'm not sure.
This is Lisa. I think this is part of the question I answered. I think if it's not listed in the list, that say the NLBP is not listed, you can select the closest thing to it, and hopefully eventually we'll get more of them added. But at this time, you'll just need to choose the closest thing to what you're trying to upload.
And then Bridget is asking, when searching for claims from our desktop, there's no filter option for the claim administrator claim number. Can this be added, as it would help to locate the exact claim more efficiently?
This is Cheryl. I can answer that. We are taking down information on what we want, or you guys want to see on your researches, and it has been added to feedback.
Next question from Meredith. When filing CB for TTD to TPD, how do we get the form back checking number 2 on NOID form?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what generates that form anymore these days, but try and get the return to work date in there if you can. Do an actual return to work date. That at one time I thought that's what generated, but I'm not sure. So that's the best guidance we can give. I'll try and dig and see if I can add more tomorrow at our EI call. more information as to how the CB generates that form.
The next question from Jacqueline is the notice of payment generated are not showing the payment information. And then with that question also, they're not generating for all PY filings.
The most common issue why those payment forms are blank as to what the payment information is because the PY transaction did not contain a payment segment. So make sure that you have payment segments on the PY transactions because the PYs do accept without payment segments at this time. So that's usually the case. Make sure that the payment segments are present and that should populate.
And then Meredith is asking on CB, should we be using reduction in benefits when going from TTD to TPD?
I'm not sure what Meredith means, or whether it's the reduced benefit amount code or say an ACR. You shouldn't have to use either of those if they don't apply. So you can just send the new benefit type, and that's a basic CB.
And then in addition, Meredith is asking on the RB reinstatement of benefit, we do not get the form back. Do we need to complete an old form and serve it on the employee even though they got the check?
Nope, past guidance has said the check itself and telling them that they're reinstated is good enough.
Thanks, John. Okay, then Paul is asking, when is the answer hour with the demonstration of PYs scheduled?
11:30 tomorrow, answer hour for EDI, and we'll try and go over the basics of POIs between the benefit and the payment segment.
Okay, then Kathy is asking, whoops, I think mine just went. Okay, okay, sorry about that. When should we expect indemnity benefits to show up on each claim's benefits tab? I'm looking at one that has had both an IP and SX filed.
On the benefits tab, if you filed the IP and the SX and the benefits are present, they should be populating into that benefits tab on the claim. If they're not, please let us know. I'm not sure of any instance. There are some like the URs and such where they're not always, those rows are not populating with the benefit information, but an IP and an SX should. So let us know if you're seeing otherwise.
Okay. And then Mike has a question. Has there been any update with including the request for information email to the adjuster as well as the main contact? Is this an enhancement to be added after the bugs get flushed out, or will there be only be one contact for requests for information?
This is Lisa. I think maybe I can answer a little bit. At this time, we can only choose one contact to send a request for information to. We cannot select multiple users. But we can take this as feedback to see if this is something we could do in the future.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, then Lonnie is asking, will the notice of benefit payment forms ever be updated to include the payee information rather than just the breakout of the payment amounts to reflect the employee portion of a settlement versus the attorney portions?
I believe that feedback's already in there. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Next question from Stephen. What is the status of the ACR code where we are withholding attorney fees but not paying right away?
Yeah, for those of you who are familiar with the IA's 3.1 standard and the recent publication, there's two codes. One's an ACR and one's its own separate DN related to withheld attorney's fees. You know, haha, that's Minnesota. Yeah, we did get those IR's through, but however, because we're on the Accord standard, we cannot adopt those data elements at this time until we actually move to the IA's XML version of reporting. So we'll have to sit tight and continue to do our workarounds with reporting withholding attorney's fees until DLI can update to the new reporting standard for IA.
Then Bridget has a question. I'm getting reports of activity on claims, legal activity in campus, yet the claim remains in closed inactive status in campus. Do we have to email DLI to request that the claim be reopened, or will DLI do this eventually? Example, legal dispute filed 3/4/21 by employee's attorney, claim is still in closed inactive status.
Well, as Manager Ralph Hapness indicated earlier in the call, it sounds like the issue of a file being inactive or closed will no longer prevent you from filing or uploading information into a campus claim file. So that shouldn't be an issue going forward. On our side, the file will be reopened when we get the notification from OAH that there's legal activity, so I wouldn't worry about that. We'll catch that when we audit the file, if there's ongoing legal activity or a new round of legal activity that's started up.
Okay. Next question then is for Meredith. A clarification. The question is CB from TPD to TTD. Will that generate a form to be served?
Yeah, Meredith, I don't think it was supposed to, but I believe it is sometimes. And if it does, I mean, obviously that's not it would look like a NOI 2, and that's not a real NOI 2, so you wouldn't have to send it out.
Next question is from Becky, advising that the encryption instructions came out today. And this is how I sent encryption emails in the past, and they did not go through. Was there an update?
This is Chris Liefeld. There was not an update, but I would try it again because I'm not sure if you used Microsoft 365 in the past, but that is the encryption tool or service that the help desk is able to open. So I would try Microsoft 365 encryption again, and I'm guessing we'll be able to open it. Thank you.
And I just noticed too that Angela put a note at the very bottom of the chat saying that see the release that went out today about encryption as a last in chat, the last mention in chat. Then Wendy's question is, would it be possible to have our claim number on all mail that's sent to us? Rehab mail that we receive does not have our claim number in the email.
Hi, this is Ralph. I think that might be in as a feedback item to include more info in the emails. We do kind of run up against security issues for releasing too much data with those, but that's something that we could certainly take a look at and see, because it's no fun getting an email with without a whole lot of info into it, and then you have to dig around until you find out exactly what claim you want to look at. So.
And then Kathy has a question. regarding the benefits tab not showing values, and she's looking at a campus claim number, and it appears the benefit paid was completed,
Okay,
but
thanks for
not showing up, right? Okay, sorry.
thanks for sharing that, Kathy.
And I'm not seeing any additional questions.
Okay, Deborah panelists, does anyone have any closing remarks to add? I'm sorry, it sounds like somebody is not on mute and we're on hold with them, so I apologize. If nobody has anything further to add, then we'll conclude this meeting. And thanks to everyone for taking the time to join us today. Have a great day.